So cool. All right. Let me try to start our timer. Excellent. All right. So welcome everybody. So just a quick note to the participants that your audio and video are turned off. Do not turn them on or play with them, because they'll interrupt us. And we will easily lose our train of thought. We're very easily distracted. So click on the chat if you want to participate, and there's tweets and hashtags and what have you. Um, I did remember to start the recording, so we're doing good. And a shout out to San Jose State University School of Information as a founding partner of this conference. So hello and welcome to Smile, building a headshot service at Countway Library. I am Ashley Thomas. I am the Health Science Data and Digital Services Librarian at Countway, and I am joined today by my colleagues, Lexie Liu, Library Digital Technology Specialist, and Iris Jahng, Digital Scholarship Librarian. And so here we are with our manager, Scott Lipinski, and our fun, awkward family-esque photo. And so now I'm going to turn over to Iris.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Iris Jahng. I am Digital Scholarship Librarian at the Countway Library at Harvard Medical School. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are and where this whole idea came from. Countway Library's Publishing and Data Services team does all things relating to publishing data, digital in general, technology, scholarly communications, those sorts of things. So we are kind of a grab bag of fun things. We do everything from providing advice regarding copyright, open science, sharing scholarship in its myriad forms, and using technology to share scholarship in new and exciting ways. When Lexie Liu joined our team in July of 2024, we finally had someone on board with expertise in video and audio production, and that really allowed us to begin thinking about the full world of possibilities in terms of what we could offer as far as services go to our campus community. We also happened to notice that there was a previously occupied office space within our library that was currently sitting empty. And we swooped in immediately to claim our version of squatters' rights to it. And turns out it was kind of ideally situated to be used as a photography studio. And we already had basically all the equipment we needed. And so basically, we wanted to offer a service where we would take people's headshots and they could use those on their websites, in their LinkedIn profiles, email signatures, et cetera, anywhere where you might want something kind of professional and polished. But then also, especially because our third-year medical students need to be applying to residency programs for after they're done at Harvard Medical School. And part of that application requires a professional headshot, which I had not previously known about at all. So that was news to me. And it turned out that was something that we could step in and relatively easily offer to our community. So I will hand it off to Lexie now, and she can start really letting you know how it all happened.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lexie Chunxiaoxue, and I am Library Digital Technology Specialist at Countway Library. So now it's a storytelling time. The stories begin in our Countway Library studio, which located on the lower floor of Countway Library. Our publish and data service team established and operates this studio, which is regularly scheduled for different type of projects, including podcast, video recordings, conference presentation videos, and voiceover work. And users of our studios come from across Harvard Longwood campus, including the Harvard Medical School, Harvard School of Public Health, Harvard School of Dental Medicine, and affiliated hospitals. The studio is fully equipped with professional video and audio recording equipment, as well as post-production software. And one day, a patron mentioned, oh, they need a professional headshot to update their webpage. That sparked the idea, why not offer a headshot service using the resources we already have? Once the idea was born, we quickly assessed the equipment available for portrait photography and found we had everything we needed. Then we created a promotional poster embedded with a QR code that linked directly to our lip answer system. After finalizing the design and a little prompt, we collaborate with our outreach team to include it in their communication newsletters. And it was a hit. Within the first 24 hours of announcing the headshot service, we received over 200 requests, which is a clear sign that this offering addressing a significant and previously lacking need in our community. The overwhelming response required our team to quickly organize planning meetings to address key questions. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the questions are, how will patrons schedule their sessions? And what specifically does the service include? Where and how should we set up the photography space? And how can we efficiently balance this service with our existing responsibilities? First question, how will patrons schedule their sessions? We choose to use Calendly as our scheduling platform. It merges with Outlook calendars, making it easy to customize availability and manage appointments efficiently. We can also build a 15 minutes buffer between sessions to allow for equipment setup and a little flexibility for patrons' delay. What specific and does the service include? The session is limited to 15 minutes and includes a few simple posted in front of a neutral backdrop. The experience is personalized, allowing patrons to pick their preferred photos. The service including basic cropping, but does not offer advanced editing. Where and how should we set up the photography space? We redesigned a quiet room in the corner on the L1 floor of Countway Library as a headshot studio space, setting up 3 backdrops, a texture gray, which ideal for linking or professional profiles, a pure white, suitable for visa or passport photos, and a lot of people use that for applying for visas, go to a conference abroad, and a green screen, which for transparent PNG images and creative use. For equipment, we use a Nikon Z6 II camera, set up 4K as resolution with a 2470 lens. The photography station includes a Mac Mini and dual monitors, one for the photographer and one for patrons to view their images in real time. And Adobe Lightroom is used to sync and review captures immediately with quick access to Photoshop for cropping as needed. We also set up 3 LED lights to create a well-balanced and professional lighting environment. One light is positioned directly in front of the subject, even light up the face, and the second light is placed front left angle to soft shadows and add dimensions to facial features. The third light is a round light placed behind and to the right of the subject, helping to define the subject's outline and add depth to the image. All lights operate at a color temperature 50 to 5600 Kelvin, which helps balance skin tones and gives the subject a more energetic appearance. Each light is dimmable, allowing us to adjust for variations in natural lights caused by time of the day or weather conditions. How can we efficiently balance the service with our existing responsibilities? During the first month of launching our headshot service, we received hundreds of requests. To manage this high demand, our team rotated responsibilities based on each member's availability and willingness to cover sessions. We also prioritize urgent requests. For example, we mentioned medical students prepare residency applications were given priority for their headshots. For this service, our goal is to create a space where patrons feel safe, confident, and comfortable. We discovered that happens patrons feel relaxed in the studio. They are more satisfied with their photos. Their smiles appear more natural. To support this environment, our team added thoughtful and personal designs. For example, team members brought their own squishmallows. Iris bring her own squishmallows to serve a comforting companions for patrons during their session. We also placed a mirror nearby so patrons could adjust their clothing, makeup, or hairstyle. Additionally, we'll provide oil-absorbing sheets, which from Scott for those people who need them, lint rollers, and even had a fan available for patrons who want their more like dynamic, airy effect for their hair. Okay, so give back to Ashley.
Okay, so a new service. This economy, I mean, feels like a lot. So we had the challenge of taking this on with minimal to zero cost because if you weren't aware, we're from Harvard and the current administration is a bunch of dicks. And they're currently holding $3 billion in funding from us because apparently we hurt their feelings. Don't know. And so all Harvard departments are beginning to implement a permanent budget cut, which is super fun. So we are in a position where, like most places, we need to keep offering services to our community, but we need to do it at no cost. And so we were really fortunate in that we have been building our equipment list over the last 2 years when we had a little bit of a budget surplus. And we weren't being directly attacked for no good reason except for hurt feelings. And so that really allowed us to repurpose items that we needed for the studio. So we needed a mirror, we needed a fan. We went into, we have like a storage room with extra supplies. So we just went in there and raided that. We had the camera already, so now we have taken it from our audiovisual room and we've put it solely for use in our headshot studio. So we just repurposed a lot of what we had. We didn't purchase anything new. And so like Lexie said, we brought in our own squishmallows and oil absorbing sheets. So we were able to do this with no budget, and it turned into a huge success, which we know it's not always the case, but we just so happen to be able to do it. Iris.
Okay, so I will talk about some of the lessons we learned. The number one big lesson we learned was there was a huge, massive need for such a service on our campus. And it was funny because this all started with well, what if we did offer to take people's pictures? Like that question sparked all of this. And so one thing we wanted to be mindful of from the very beginning was to make it very clear that we were not going to in any way overpromise and then underdeliver. None of us are professional photographers, and we did make that clear from the outset. That's nothing to be ashamed of at all. It's just not what we do, not how we spend our time. And so given that caveat, people were still interested in working with us, and we spent a lot of our energy and focus on just making sure that people felt really good about being there with us. And it turned out that was probably the right approach to take. I think it helped that, we're a library and we are trusted by our community, and I suspect that's true of all of you as well. So if you were to try something like this, you would have that working in your favor, just like we did. So we just wanted to make sure that people felt relaxed, like themselves, comfortable, maybe willing to have some fun. And I think the indications that we had achieved that were when people started asking us, after taking a bunch of formal, professional looking pictures, like, would it be okay if we just spent like a minute just taking some fun ones? With the squishmallows or with funny poses or funny faces. And of course we were all for that. That's still, even with like the funny pictures, no one came even close to taking up a full 15-minute session. I mean, some of the sessions, people came in and out within like 2 minutes, so I think that's a win, and they felt good about what they left with. And so based off of the feedback and the fact that we're still getting requests for having pictures taken, I think our approach in terms of focusing on making sure everyone felt good and comfortable was the right way to go. Again, we're not professional photographers. We're not trying to be, but we do want to offer what we can to our community because everyone is, kind of struggling to get by right now. And so we wanted to provide a nice thing. In terms of, next slide, please. So for growing the service, because we're not exactly looking to have a mad rush of just picture taking appointments, for a month of the year, each year from here on out. So we did that once. We're probably not going to do it that way ever again. And what we're doing now is being a little more intentional about how we approach, offering this service to our community. And so we're going to continue to collaborate with the HMS Office of Student Affairs so that the med students especially know that this is a service that is available to them and we want them to make use of it. We're going to try to be smart about how and when we purchase the things that we need to continue this service. So a lot of the costs that are ongoing are relatively small, like replacement light bulbs, things like that. And those are relatively easy to incorporate into your overall general operating costs. Bigger costs like a new backdrop or something, those need to be planned for, obviously. Fortunately, we haven't really had to worry about that just yet, but we will see. And I think that was about it for me.
Okay. All right. So, as we mentioned in a previous slide, we were really fortunate that we had already been building our audiovisual equipment. So we had the necessary items needed to hit the ground running with this project. But it was really important for us when we were getting ready for this presentation was to take a few minutes and to brainstorm how folks, no matter their financial considerations, could start a similar service. So even on a shoestring budget to you've got money to burn, which if you do, where do you work and are you hiring? Not just for me, but for everybody. And just trying to like imagine like what this might look like if you're like, I have less than $50. So I don't know about y'all, but my phone takes amazing photos. I honestly think some of the photos using the portrait mode that I've taken of my niece and nephew are better than some like professional photos, but that's just me. So you can get a ring light with a tripod for like 30 bucks on Amazon. You can use the person's phone. If somebody wants to volunteer their phone as the main source of picture taking, we've got, pretty amazing cameras in our handheld little computers that we take everywhere with us. An old sheet. I know myself and my roommates have a lot of old bedding that we just don't throw away because you never know when you're going to have a guest that comes over once a year. So something that can be brought from home. And then also there is free Photoshop alternatives online. We use Calendly, which is a free service that integrated with Outlook. It also integrates with Google to help manage our appointments. And you don't even have to integrate it with a calendar service. You can just use it to keep track and you'll be able to see and you can get emails sent to you. So there are free alternatives and ways to do this on a shoestring budget. Find a semi-quiet space that has good light, maybe next to a window to help with more natural light. Tack up, you just need some tacks. The old sheet, and yeah, you've got a, kind of a, I don't want to say makeshift, but you've got yourself a little studio space. But if you want to go big budget, get like a really high-end digital camera, get a whole dedicated computer setup space. So think of like the professional photographers that have, their computer over here and they've got a preview screen and everything's attached and there's all sorts of a studio and on-camera lighting to get it really lit up, your Photoshop subscription, canvas backdrops, and a variety of accessories. So there's really a way to go from really simple to really big budget. And I took my passport photo using my phone on the background of my office, and it got it, and there was no problem. So shown that you can do it, do it with your phone. It's pretty amazing. So that's for all for us today. Thank you so much for letting us brag about our service. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask here in the chat. Um, and sorry, that was my timer thing. And you have our emails there, and you can either email us directly, or you can go to our website, which is the Countway site, and see all what we're doing. But yeah, that's it for us. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing so you can see all of us. Okay. Yes. The Squishmallows were a hit. The number of people who, like, at the end were like, can we have a picture with the Squishmallow? I'm like, yes, of course. And then it's really fun to go through like some of the photos that you're taking. And there's some people with like, because I'm a chatter with the people, to try to make them comfortable. I know how it is. Like, I hate getting my picture taken. Um, And so you get like really weird like facial expressions because they're in the middle of talking. And the number of people who cracked up and like, will you send me that one too? It's great. I send a lot of, there's a lot of people who, when I was sending their photo, it's like, here are the three like professional ones where you look all spiffy. And then here are the three funny ones that you're going to send to like your friends and family because you thought it was funny. Yeah, it was surprising how easy it was to make the space um comforting. Just like having, yeah, I think people were taken off guard in a good way with the kind of fun touches that we had. Okay, how can you see this being applied to a public library who's seeing a need and then meeting a need to bring in patrons? How to ask this question? Yeah. Um, so I'm trying to think back, and Iris and Lexie, please feel free to step in too. So I'm thinking back when I worked at a public library. So it was a little bit ago, but we did fortunately have like a conference space or just like a meeting room that folks in our community could rent out. But I'm thinking like that is a space. There's a lot of windows and had good lighting that we could, take a corner to use. We also had a study room, which is one, which I think if we just, had like a dedicated time that where it was reserved for us. Um, but then trying to see if that was something that patrons needed. I mean, I guess what would ever, however you advertise your services at the library, I think would be kind of the way. I know when I worked at my public library, we had kind of our core group of patrons that we talked to. They were in like every few days, so we could ask them about that. And then when we have big activities that also kind of present an opportunity to talk to folks, I guess it would really just depend on like how you're already talking to your patrons to see what they're needing. Um, Always a way to pilot it out, especially if it's not going to like if you kind of go the really cheap route where it's not going to cost anything, if it's like or maybe $20, which I know is a lot. You're 20 bucks I can like buy a replacement book or two in public library. So I don't want to discredit but if there's that flexibility, you could try it. Um, and usually people are curious and nosy, and so they'll be like, what's that? What are you doing?" And so it can kind of open up an opportunity. But I'm thinking the application, it'd probably be especially folks for like passports or visas, or maybe even if, folks are on the job hunt, if they need to update like their LinkedIn. So I think a lot of the similar things that we were doing, I think since we're already kind of offering a lot of those services indirectly might be helpful. What is the computer program you use? So we're fortunate we have a subscription to Adobe, so the Adobe Suite, which we understand is not something that a lot of folks have. It's just because we're an educational institution, we just so happen to have that. I know I Googled like alternatives to Photoshop, and there were a bunch that popped up, and I can't think off the top of my head some of the names of them, but I literally just Googled it, and especially Reddit, which I know everyone's like, yeah, Reddit. actually some really good like suggestions on Reddit for some free alternatives. Some where you can like do like a free subscription, like a free trial, or like it's like a couple bucks a month kind of thing. Heck, even like Paint has improved, and you can do a lot with that. You can even get like free apps on your phone if you are using like a phone to do any of it, to do editing of or cropping of the photos. Let's see. Somebody said, I'm from the public library world and could see this as great accomplishment to resume building job skill. Yeah. Um, Maybe alongside a technology grant for equipment. Yeah. And a community volunteer from, yeah, that would be excellent. I think that would be really good. It would get some good goodwill for a local photographer. And yeah, I think if there are local grants, maybe like at the state library level or even kind of like lower down, that might be feasible because I really think even with a really small grant, you could still do a lot. So Amazon, we got a lot of our stuff from B&H, which is usually not badly priced. So if you want to go with like a not Amazon, which yes and no, but yeah. So I think that would be excellent. I think you could really write up a really nice grant proposal, especially if you're already offering job skill programming and what and other services at the library. That would should be like a great addition to. Yeah, and we're uh, should
Well, I
probably
know we're running short on time, and I know there are other sessions that I suspect some of y'all are interested in heading off to, so we don't want to keep you here. Is that what you did to get the photo supplies?
yeah. Uh, oh, to get the photo site. Oops. So for us, we got our photo supplies. So our director is I don't want to say it's like frugal throughout the year, and so we tend to have a little bit of we we used to have a little bit of a surplus at the end of the fiscal year, and so our director would go to like our managers and kind of ask like, are there big budget items that you have been waiting to purchase? And that was kind of what we did. To we put in our request to get that, and we went through B&H Photo because we had an institutional thing already. Harvard's really weird with like who they want to buy from, so that's what we did to get our supplies. But I know a lot of them you can get like on Amazon or I mean any just about anywhere. It's very like a lot of the stuff we got was common. It wasn't specialty items. So like a backdrop, really easy to grab. I mean, they basically look like bed sheets. So get a stark white bed sheet and there you go. Um, so that's what, yeah, we didn't do a grant. We just happened to have that stuff kind of slowly building because we've been wanting to expand in like the digital services space because our, yeah, we anything that could fall under like digital scholarship. So we had been buying that stuff for like podcasting and audio recordings for folks who wanted to record voiceovers for conference presentations, etc. Yeah. And we are available like to chat. Feel free to drop us an email. You can see info on our Countway site. But yeah, thanks everyone for attending. This was awesome. Thank you for letting us brag on our service. Hopefully this is something that, you know, depending on your what you need, you can do as well.
Should we stop recording?
Yeah, I will go ahead and stop recording.
Right. Well, thank you for attending, everyone.